So after all of the hype, the PlayStation 5 is finally here. We had that initial logo reveal to start things off and it exploded online, and since then it's been one thing after the other. Whether it was the first look at Demon's Souls, which was really exciting, to the look of the system and all of the polarizing opinions around that. But now we can finally get it, and I was fortunate enough to pick one up. I say fortunate enough because, trust me, it's been very difficult today to get a PlayStation 5. It's just kind of the way it's running now in stores. Before, you'd go and wait in line, you'd camp out just to ensure that you can get one, and now it's been a big fight online with checkout bots. I know the pain. Hitting F5 over and over again and hoping, crossing your fingers that this does not get ripped out of the cart as you're trying to check out. I dealt with that for quite a while now, but I finally got one. And today what we're going to do is unbox it here. I will do a full teardown for this weekend. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And then I will also do a video giving my thoughts and initial impressions around the PlayStation 5, the games, and all of that. So I'm excited to do that and do some coverage around this system. Guys, if you enjoyed these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if you're new here, make sure you subscribe down below. We're getting very close to 500,000 subscribers now. So we'll just start with the box itself. It is pretty big. I mean, you can see it's getting it into frame isn't exactly the easiest thing. So yes, the box is much larger, even like we have with the Series X, and it makes sense. The system itself is taller, but it is a bit thinner. However, I guess it would also be deeper if you kind of go by the overall dimensions of this system. Now we do have some things up here, which includes 8K. 8K, from what I've heard, isn't available out of the box yet. I guess a patch will be coming something down the road, but I don't know if that is a massive priority for Sony right now because not a lot of people have 8K sets anyway to really take advantage of that. 4K 120 is much more relevant, along with, of course, HDR. But the front of the box, we have the different symbols here in a white and then like kind of almost like a gray. It's hard to make out exactly unless you're staring right at it. And then we have the overall PlayStation 5 itself, controller on the back, play like never before. Here's the PlayStation 5 in its horizontal position because we can, of course, go standing up vertically or we can go with the sideways look. You just need to have that stand in the correct spot. Now, it does look like the outside is just like a slip cover. So we just pull this out. It has a handle at the top, and this is what the system is actually in. So you can just kind of throw the slip cover to the side there. Otherwise, they'd just be shipping this plain white box. They got to dress it up at least a little bit. Interestingly enough, they also have instructions here for how to take things out of the box. So first thing out is the DualSense controller. I already have one of these. This is a second one. However, this one also hasn't been opened up or anything. This will be the one that I'm mostly using. I already did a whole video on the DualSense. If you want to see my thoughts on that, you can, and did a full teardown on it. Standard power cable, nothing crazy there. We have some paperwork, manuals, all of this, kind of like a getting started guide. And then we have what looks to be our stand. Yep. So this is something that was talked about a bit because you do need a tool to use it, which is a flathead screwdriver. I do have one of those over here though. And it looks like we have a turning mechanism that will allow you to hide your screw right here. And this is used to kind of lock it into place depending on the orientation you want to use. And this does kind of move down there depending on how you have your PlayStation 5 set up. It's very rubberized here to kind of grip it, and then we have some hooks around here. And then we have our HDMI cable. There was some talk about this. It is high-speed HDMI, so it would work with HDMI 2.1 TVs. So if you want to do 4K 120, this cable will work out of the box. And then we get to the main event, which is the system itself. And I do comment on the packaging that goes into these different devices with the Xbox and others when it's more expensive. This is a $500 system, so I would expect the packaging to be at least mildly premium. This is not really. I like the more closed cell foam approach with the way that these would be packaged, where it's basically all around it. So if the box gets chucked out of the back of a truck or something when they're offloading it or for shipping, it'll be protected. I think the PS5 is okay, but it's certainly not the best attempt at packaging for this. However, it is at least suspended in kind of the air inside of this box, so I think it'll be okay. It just probably could have done a better job with packaging it overall. Like, these are kind of like egg carton type material for protecting it. All right, let's see what this looks like. This is the first time I have seen the PlayStation 5 in person. All I've ever seen at this point are just in videos. So here we go, let's see what we have. So I'm just looking at it from the side here. So far, I like it. It's kind of this matte white finish on the outside. That's nice. And, well, it's glossy plastic on the front. I'm not the biggest fan of glossy plastic when it comes to premium electronics, mostly because they do scratch very easily. Like if dust falls on it, you go to wipe it off. Even with like a microfiber cloth, they tend to scratch. It's just the way it is. And I would like matte black for the center here, but I guess what they were going for was two very contrasting pieces, which was like the outside and then the inside. So if the outside's kind of like this matte white and then you make the inside a glossy black, I guess to them it comes off as really just two separate pieces for the most part. Anyway, for anyone asking, yes, it does stand up without the stand, just like this. It works fine, it seems anyway, but let's go ahead and put the stand on to kind of complete the look. So we have the screw coming out of this compartment right here. It is a flathead screw, and it would go right through this hole. Now, when you do rotate this and you hide this, that goes away. So as I'm kind of rotating this, we have basically a piece of plastic kind of go behind here, so the screw will no longer function, which is probably not a bad thing because you don't want someone to think that, oh, they're gonna set it down with this side on it when it's in the horizontal configuration and you put a screw through it, you just push really hard. So they kind of thought that through as well. But, that's not a bad idea, but this will go through here. It'll sit just like that, and I guess we'll just kind of screw it in. There we go, just a couple of turns with the flathead screwdriver, and it's now on the stand. It's on there pretty well too. It doesn't move at all, which it shouldn't when it's screwed in. This does help. So it's certainly more sturdy. I think you still could kind of get away without the stand if you needed to, like if you're really fighting for space in your entertainment center, which if you are fighting for space like that, it's probably not a great place for this anyway if the stand wouldn't fit. But the stand does add at least some stability at the bottom. Oh, and while we have it standing up here, let's quickly talk about the overall size of this system. It's pretty big. I mean, really, we knew this going into it, that it was this massive system from Sony. I think the curves might hide it or disguise how large it is just a little bit in person, just because the overall effect of like the curvature around it makes it look a little thinner than it is, and maybe even a little shorter. It has this interesting effect when you look at it, but if we do something like put it next to the PS3 20 gigabyte fat model that I refurbished a while ago so I could play my PS2 games again, kind of puts into perspective just how big this system is. It's not little, certainly. And I do wonder if a lot of entertainment centers will have a hard time accommodating this. You just might have to like knock out a shelf or two or something. I think for people who have certain entertainment center setups, you'll probably have to turn this horizontally and use the stand for that. But otherwise, you might have to go on the floor next to your entertainment center or next to the TV or something. It is the biggest system that Sony's made. So now I'm gonna take the stand back off, and while we're here, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the side panels off, and then I'll finish it up in the horizontal position for anyone who's curious about that, how that all looks. It's supposed to have like kind of like this floating look, which is kind of neat, but let's see how this works. Now, if I remember right, we had to kind of lift up on one side and then kind of slide it off. So I'm gonna start on this side with the disk drive here, and from what I remember from the video, we lifted on one corner and then we kind of slid this way, I believe. So let's see how difficult this is. Oh wow, okay, that popped off. So the way this works, yes, we have kind of these circles here, and you're trying to lift it up so these circles can clear these spots right here. And when you do that, you'll be able to just slide all of this over. We have a ton of like little spikes, basically, I guess is what we can call them, that lock into place. And it has like this nice clicking effect when these sit down. But once you lift that up and over, I mean, the side panel's free, and you know what? Pretty thick plastic. Like it's not like flimsy at all. And I guess it kind of has to be at least sturdy enough since this kind of floats up here. And that's where all those really cool little PlayStation symbols are in there, but it's not cheap feeling. Oh, and with that side off, we can see a quick little look inside here at some of the stuff going on with the fan. We do have the cover for our NVMe slot here for expandable storage, and a ton of screws, by the way. If you remember in that teardown, you really didn't see a lot of screws, but I knew they were there. I know Sony wasn't just gonna give us something without screws, so yeah, it does look like there's still gonna be quite a bit of work to do to get into this system. Same story with this side. We have a couple circles down here, and then a bunch of spikes that have to slide over to the side there, at which point, We have the system itself exposed. That's right, this is the actual PS5, technically without those side panels, and they do make it look a good bit larger if you look at it now. I mean, it still looks pretty big, but it doesn't look as crazy with like kind of those wings kind of flowing out the front of it. Anyway, this is the part where you could vacuum out any dust. Remember, they pointed this out. This one here, I can see right underneath there, we have the heatsink. You can see it from here inside. And then over here, it looks like it has kind of this air duct rolling up to the fan. So being able to kind of just pressurize and pull any air and stuff out that way, you might even get the fan to spin a little bit doing that. So that is a pretty cool design, I think, from Sony. This most likely would give you some access to the all the fins and all this in the heatsink. So you probably would be able to pull at least some dust bunnies out through there, but at least Sony came up with something so that you can clear out your PS5 a bit easier. All right, let's go ahead and put these back on. Seems pretty straightforward. You just kind of line it up and then you just sort of push down and slide it. It has like this nice click when those circles fall in. There we go. That's not bad. That's actually a satisfying click when you do push down on it and it kind of all falls into place there. So let's go ahead and put this stand on now and finish up. All right, so after you turn it so that that middle circle is covered up, the hooks on the outside kind of align a bit better. And it looks like you're supposed to be basically aiming it to where those squares are on the back. It'll push in, grab it, and then should kind of hold it up just like that. So you get a nice little floating effect, as I was saying before, because you can't quite see the stand from underneath if you're looking directly at it. And like I said, the PS5 just kind of looks like, with the form factor that it has, that it's just kind of floating or levitating just above the table. Yeah, it's pretty sturdy. Like I said, it's all rubberized underneath on both sides so that it should stick to anything you really put it on. And the system itself is locked in well enough. So that should be everything there, though. You know what? I am excited to go check out the PlayStation 5. Finally having it here now. And I did pick up a couple of games. I grabbed Demon's Souls and I grabbed Spider-Man Miles Morales, the Ultimate Edition, so I can check out the remaster for Spider-Man. And I know Astro was already on the system, and I think at that time, I'm also gonna check out Sackboy. That'll be the other one I check out. Godfall, we'll see. I might wait on that a little bit, but exciting stuff. Next generation is officially here. Both companies now have their systems out, and I think there's a lot of excitement going on now, but certainly going into next year when we start getting a ton of games for both of these systems from third parties and the first parties. Guys, let me know what you think about the PS5. If you were able to pick one up, let me know about that and your whole situation there, and look forward to a full teardown this weekend. Exciting stuff, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.